Well, hello everyone. Steve stepped away for a moment. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, there he comes. He's coming back. So good to see everybody. Lots of stuff going on around here right now. It has been very, very busy. So I don't know who told me that, yeah, when you retire, you have more time, but I am yet to see evidence of that. So far, it seems like I have less time, which that could be because I inherited a lot of mom duties. I guess maybe that's it. Maybe that's part of it. But what's everybody got going on tonight? Steve, what you got the sweater on over there? It was like 80 degrees here today.
Well, it's we actually got to like 70 degrees the other day, but it's cooling off again. And we might get rain to freezing, rain to snow tomorrow night. So
Oh, hang on, I gotta go start this again.
it's on that roller coaster. But so yeah, it's in the low 60s out in the shop. I wanted to be comfortable. But good evening, everybody. Good to be back here and again for another Sunday night. And I don't think my preset or the test went too well on this.
We got the wrong layout going on here tonight too. There we go.
There you go.
I don't know why it even had my camera mirrored, so like my logo was backwards a while ago. I don't know if they pushed out an update or what they did, but they messed me up.
Well,
Doing some testing tonight, guys, in case y'all didn't see the post earlier. So I'm running like a whole bunch of power and speed tests on the Reno 45 because I took it apart and did some minor modifications to it earlier today. And this is just some of my playing around I did. I done run through a couple of them. Can you pick out the ones that were done using the factory air assists? Any of them like jump out at you?
all of them.
So I've been playing. These two right here were actually done with the factory air assist. I've gotten it a little cleaner now because I found out this machine, it didn't take a whole lot more than what they had. I mean, it didn't require much more air. So what I did is I did it on this sheet here and just kind of dialed it in and got the pressures to where it was getting me the cleanest result possible. And now I'm doing a with my air assist and a without test over there.
Sure.
Oh yeah, the way I set it up is instead of removing the default, the factory air assist, I left it in there so that it comes on with the machine. That makes sure that my lens has air running across of it all the time. And then on the layers that say air in Lightburn, it actually has a relay, and then I've got a Y in the hose that comes from a regulator, and when that relay fires, it opens up shop air and lets shop air go in there. Now, that's probably that little factory pump's probably not loving that because it's probably putting it under a little bit of a strain with that added air pressure in there. But so far, I don't think it's going to hurt it. It's doing okay.
I mean, air pumps in general don't like to be restricted, and that's one of the things that's one of the other changes from the Pro that I have to the Vision was they added in like a restrictor for variable air assist, I think.
Yeah, I got that opened up all the way.
And that's generally kind of they don't recommend you doing it on restricting air pumps like that because that back pressure can cause some issues. But yeah, it's more of the improvement in the looks of it, as you kind of showed there, is that you're not getting as that dark, ugly burn. You're getting more of a clean through burn. So
yeah. Yes, I'm not getting an overwhelming amount of, like better cutting per se, but it is cleaner and it's less flamey with some materials. Like, like I have found it like leather and a couple other materials with the stop pump, you get real bad with that lick flame that just follows the laser. And with the air assist set up now, I'm not getting that. So So far, so good. Uh, I mean, it's doing a better job than what it was. I'm enjoying it. The machine itself, like the way it controls, the way it moves, and everything, is pretty awesome. I keep forgetting it's a 45 and not a 55-watt CO2, so that's you know that's not what I'm used to. So, uh,
Mm-hmm.
but it's been doing a pretty good job. I cleaned the lenses and mirrors and everything before I started all this testing, just to give me a good fair read on it. And I'm doing like a whole sheet of power and speed tests. And it's the same test. I'm just turning the air off mechanically on one set and not on the other. So, but yeah, so far so good.
Well, and the interesting thing is they have their core. What do they call it? Just the Reno, not the Pro, which works with Lightburn core. Um, Now, when I got my Reno Pro, it didn't work with core, but they've made some updates to it, and so it would be interesting to be able to play with that version just to kind of see does it perform the same as the Pro versions, and for the people who have Lightburn with the core license for GRBL, it'd be nice to say, hey, you don't need to upgrade your Lightburn license and pay the extra $500. There's some minor differences as far as physical attributes, as far as like it can't go as fast, but that's more just the controller. I think most of the actual mechanics and such are the same. It's just what the electronics can drive it at. So, and honestly, you're not going to be running those 5 to 600 millimeters a second speeds really for.
No, 300's about the most
Yeah.
I've been running, like doing engraving and stuff.
Yeah.
It's 300. I mean, I guess you probably could sling it 500, but that it seems a bit excessive.
Well, I mean, there are probably some materials out there that some people could use those speeds for, but when you're looking at these lasers and they talk about these ridiculous speeds, there's not a lot of case scenarios where you're going to be at those with, the typical materials we're working with. So anyhow, well, I've been playing around with a couple different machines this week too. I did finally, well, I should back up. I've been playing around with some machines and I'd hoped to get videos out sooner, but my office computer that I like to edit my videos on decided to just dump its primary SSD drive. Now, luckily, I only use that for the operating system and some applications. Yeah, you've got your downloads folder there and my documents and such, but that all gets kind of backed up. And I keep my data files and other things on separate drives as well as synchronized to offline storage and cloud storage. So I didn't lose anything, but it was really frustrating. I was halfway through the first edit, and that was the evening before. Got off work. I was on the computer doing something. I went and
Did you
had
say
dinner.
work?
Yeah, work.
We
And then I went
don't allow that
and had
word.
dinner, and then came back, and it's just black screen. The fans are spinning nothing, and turned out the SSD had died. So a trip to Best Buy later, some file shuffling, and reinstall late at night. I got that going, but so that delayed my P3 video, which I did get out yesterday evening on the Xtool P3, and kind of I had seen a number of things on other videos that they kind of glossed over maybe the technicalities, or they maybe had some inaccurate information between the manual or the videos I saw. So I kind of wanted to do a bit of a getting started with it for people looking to, this might be their first CO2 laser, or they don't know the what's and the whys. And so it is a little bit longer, but I wanted to leave a lot of that information in there so that people that are trying to work with it had a better idea. I'm going to continue to be working with this and do other like project-based things and specialty things. I'm going to be playing with the RA3 in there because I know you were never a fan of the RA2 and the P2.
No, the P2. Now I loved it with my S1, and it was good with the F1 and the F1 Ultra, and the P2. They lost me on tumblers with that thing. I had such hopes.
But the P3 has kind of a magnetic mounting point that puts it where the laser expects it to be and puts it in line. And then it does have a calibration that it comes over and basically double checks how it's sitting in that bracket to do the alignment. I literally just started playing with that this evening. So does it work well or not? I don't know yet, but the RA3 is pretty cool because most of the things lock together magnetically. And so it's easier to swap things out. And so I am kind of excited to see how well that works, because a lot of these things, if they are a pain to set up and a pain to swap between modes, you're a lot less likely to use them. And I kind of mentioned that in my video about the conveyor. You got to install some things to get this one up and running, but a lot of them can stay in the laser, and it's really more of the brackets you slide on and they key into the laser and come off the laser. So it's a lot easier to switch to and from that mode. Whereas on some of the others, it was surgery, bolting things on and off, setting them on tables.
I've never really been a fan of many of those.
But some I was successful.
Beds are okay, but yeah,
I was successful with it, and this is a very large wing rib.
Yeah.
This is a single piece. Now I did add these little gusset details afterwards, but yeah, this was cut out using that conveyor system, and everything fed through and lined up fine, and the tabs worked. So it does function. I'll probably play around a little more realistic projects, like larger signs and such, to show what you might really use it for. But I kind of had a theme through my video, was a lot of aviation themed stuff that is what really got me into lasers in the first place. So that's what I played around with that. But the other thing I did was I've been working with that SculptFun IR20. It's a 20-watt fiber module for a gantry-based laser. And it fits most of the SculptFun machines. They provide multiple wiring harnesses to tap them into the controllers, and did some playing around with that. And one of the things I wanted to test was, can it cut metal? And they do state that it can cut up to 0.2 millimeter aluminum business cards or 0.4 millimeter copper. So I did have some 0.4 millimeter copper plate. And so I started with that and engraved that little brass plaque in there and cut that out. Now it did take 35 passes. And at that, I still had to kind of flex it out of the spot. But, then I switched back to the other module, used the true flat plywood, and just created this cool little desk art kind of thing. As an example, I mean, you could do this as like an appreciation award, event, trophies, whatever. You could kind of make up your own thing, and you can cut out custom shaped metal, engrave on it. So that was kind of the case use for that module. So I launched that just a couple hours ago. So if you haven't watched it, that one is not near as long as the P3 one. I won't torture you that bad. But definitely check that out as well. Kind of an interesting thing. If you want to get into, if you've got a SculptFun machine and you want to get into a 20-watt fiber, but you don't want to spend quite the Galvo laser price, or you want the bigger working area, that might be what you need, or it might be a good option for you. But anyway, so that's a little bit about what I've been up to this week. Definitely trying to clear through some of these machine things that I've been working on for a couple weeks, and because I have some project stuff I keep wanting to get at.
Yeah, well, I have been busy. I got my board cleaned off, got all the sub covers and cutting boards done. And then I had a couple of other orders come in. I've got a project for a guy that I'm working on, to where he's made a locket type thing out of some copper sheeting and wants it engraved. So I didn't have the blanks, and so I got some copper sheeting to play around with. And I'm going to try to determine whether I need to, for this job, whether it's going to be better for me to use the fiber or a UV or what. Because he's really not wanting it necessarily to be a deep engrave. I mean, he's okay with that, but dark is more important than deep on this job. So I've got to see what kind of results I can get. He brought a very small piece for me to test on, but it wasn't enough for me to get the settings that I wanted. And so he brought me back another piece. But it's a local guy that just kind of does this as a hobby. So And I tried the Mopa. That's why the blank's kind of laying over there. I've been trying the Mopa, and I can do a nice deep engrave, but I'm not getting any contrast to the material. And he kind of hammered the material on the locket thing that he made, so it's got like a hammered finish, and so it doesn't show up as well. So I'm gonna have to play around with that this week and get some dark appearances.
Just with that straight 20-watt fiber module, this is on a little brass pendant, and it does get kind of a white, a gray, and a black options there. And that's just with the straight, it's a 20-watt, 30 to 60 kilohertz fiber module. So maybe simplify and go to your, instead of your Mopa, go to your straight fiber and see.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I've got a couple of options in the shop now. I got the old LP5 has showed back up. So I've got it in here too. I could try it, I guess. That's the only one currently I have sitting around. That's not a Mopa. So all right, let's see. I'm gonna go through these comments right quick and see what we got going on here. But yeah, and for the ones that haven't seen it, I got that over there. X-Tool pushed the video release forward a little bit, and I just ain't ready. I mean, I haven't, I hadn't got to play with it as much as I want to yet. So I'm kind of pacing myself. I've got a couple of videos in front of it that I got to do first, and I'm going to double back to it. But I've been running some stuff on it during the day while I'm working on other machines. I still suck at embossing. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I got to play around with that. I've had some very, very terrible results. And it's me. I know it's me because I've seen other people do it, and I'm doing something wrong. So, but I do have some cool different shapes of crystal that I'm going to play around with. I don't know if it's going to work. It may be a total failure. But I had to get me a high-speed clamping system to hold them still. So I got me some of this. It's like silly putty. I think it's the Dollar General brand of silly putty to hold stuff still.
I was trying to find that back when I was doing the working with the Eufy printer on. I was going to try to work with Matchbox cars, so I went to local stores, like Target, Walmart, and whatnot, trying to grab some Matchbox cars or Hot Wheels and whatnot. And I was trying to find silly putty to act kind of like that, to where I could just kind of make a custom clamp out of it. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, well, this is, I'm telling you, times has changed. I don't know how many of you guys grew up. This is like the generic silly putty, but the times has changed. Look how much you get. It's not even filling the egg up, like nowhere near. And I can remember when I was a kid, it was like huge. So I told Brandy, I'm like, well, I'll go back to Dollar General and buy some more because this one little piece is not going to do.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I needed it the other day for that locket that I was doing for him, so I could just level it and I just needed something to hold it just for a few minutes, let me run the engrave, and then go away. The only thing that with this that you are going to have to be careful is you can't get it too hot. So if I'm doing something,
turn into flubber,
it liquefies. so you don't want to get it hot because I literally rolled it into a ball and put it in here earlier, and it got hot today, and it flattened out again. So it's not exactly the same as the silly putty we grew up with.
Sure. Well, DJS 751 is asking, hi guys, need your advice. My Reno 65 Pro is coming tomorrow, and also a CW 5200. What mode should I run the chiller in, intelligent or manual? I live in East Pittsburgh, and my garage is 60 in winter. You just set yours up. What did you do for yours?
Mine just set. It's got like a little thermostat built into it, and it cuts on and off as it needs to. Sure. It's whatever. I mean, I didn't change the temperature. It's like 20 whatever whatever the equivalent to like 70 degrees is in Celsius. That's what it's set to. Oh, and it cuts on every now and then. It's almost like my little refrigerator over here. Like every now and then you'll hear it kind of load up and start cooling, but the rest of the time it's just sitting there circulating the water.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, intelligent mode usually will give it a range where it's going to kick in or kick out, and it tries to moderate based on the water temperature and then the ambient temperature. Manual mode is basically set it to this temperature and stay within 1 or 2 degrees. And so I ran mine in intelligent mode for a while, but I did switch over to manual mode eventually, just because I felt like the intelligent mode was having too high of swings, and it can then affect the effectiveness of your engravings and cut. More so when you're running it hard in like a production environment. If you're doing just kind of more hobbyist or like one-off jobs and such, it's probably not going to be stressing it that bad. But when I was running it 8 to 10 hours a day doing engravings and cutting kits and such with my model airplane stuff, then that seemed to stress those water temperatures more. So I did run it in manual.
Yeah, it's just like I said, I didn't really play with the settings a whole lot when I first got it. I set it up, I turned it on, let it run for a little while, made sure I got all the air bubbles and everything out of it, made sure there wasn't no obstructions. I took the cover off the back just to make sure I had good flow through the tube, and then topped it off before I ever even fired the laser. And like I said, it's been maintaining the temperature really well. Like it stays right there where it's supposed to be. So far, the machine hadn't got hot or anything. So I'm liking it. I'm liking it. It's a lot better than the one I had, because the one I had was just a radiator.
Yeah, that's what I've got running on mine in my basement, which does okay because I'm not running long jobs down there. It's usually this, test things in my basement and other such. And it's also, the temperature is pretty consistent down there. It's usually in the mid to upper 60s, which is a good temperature for the chiller to be at. So it works there, but it's not ideal if I was running it more.
We're here. Brian says been retired for 23 years. I said you'd get busy when you're. Yeah, it's so far. It's been very busy. Which now it is that time of the year for what I do. Like I've got people calling me, asking me, "Hey, I need this. I need the Girl Scout troop here in town wanted some stuff that, for them, like some ornaments and tree toppers and stuff." And so I've designed some cut files for a tree topper for the Girl Scouts troops. And, got this guy wanting this thing. I've got another lady supposed to be coming tomorrow to bring me some homemade piggy banks to engrave for a Christmas gift and stuff like that. So, I mean, there's lots of last minute people calling going, "Hey, can you help me out with this?" So I've had quite a few walk-ins in the past week or two. Like it's been busy.
That's cool. Alex Michaels is asking, I've been looking at and considering getting an Omtech Maker or Pronto. Does anyone have any experience with them? Well, I did have a Maker 25 in the shop the past year. They no longer make that one. That was their 50 watt version. I think they start at 60 and go up from there now. And it was a decent laser. It was very bare bones. The integrated air pump was just a simple air pump. It just came on. There was no control of it. And the exhaust fan was a really large, like 120, 160 millimeter, like PC fan, which was okay, but things that I would quickly bypass or upgrade. Nothing really automatic about it. It had a manual knob for raising and lowering the bed, but it worked well. Had a good RUDA controller, had the capability to upgrade to air assist with relay if you want. Kind of, if you caught Clack's video about the Reno 45 Pro Vision, basic is sometimes nice because there aren't a lot of extra things to confuse things or break.
Yeah.
They're great when they work, but they're annoying when you're trying to work around them. So definitely a nice laser and a budget laser. I've looked at the Pronto. I think the Pronto 40, which is a 90 watt, about a 35 by 24 inch bed, I believe. And I feel like that's a nice sweet spot. It's if you're really looking to jump into business on a budget, I feel like that one would be definitely worth some of the upgrades on there, as well as the increased size. Both of them, I think, still require an external chiller. And I'm not 100% sure which air pump was on the Pronto, but I am really curious. I'd love to take a look at one of those, the Pronto series, as kind of an alternative option that isn't like your benchtop ones, like the Polar or the Renos and such. A little more business, but something you could still fit in a shop like my size.
Yeah, the more of these, now that I'm got a lot more time, the more of these jobs that keep coming in, to where like today, I'm cutting like 8-inch letters. I'm cutting as many of them as I can fit on the bed of my X40. I'm knocking them out. The more I do that, the more I'm thinking I'm going to end up getting myself a cabinet, like a floor model CO2 machine with at least, I need at least 32 to 33 inch wide bed, because that way I can do stove covers in it. I can do these bigger jobs that I've got going in it, but I don't need nothing too big. You know what I mean? Like I was sitting here today just daydreaming if I could get this A70 right here to be the size of my X40, that would be awesome, because the A70 can cut twice as fast probably as my X40, but they keep wanting to make them square. And I don't know what we've got to do to convince these laser companies that square 850 by 850 is not what anybody wants. I want like 850 by 500. I think that would be a good size diode machine for somebody like myself that, DIY the enclosures and all that. Because I was sitting here today going, you know what? I'm going to take this A70. I'm going to order me some extrusions. I'm going to, because that's what I wanted. I've even the Glacier over there. I mean, it's 850, but it's 850 on the wrong axis.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that they kind of messed me up on that, because I was seriously going to take my A70 and my Glacier and Frankenstein myself a 2-foot, a 500 by 850. But then when I get to looking at it, the axes are backwards like that. It's 800 by 850, and so I don't want to go down to 800. So I am going to end up getting myself a cabinet machine that's around 850 or so wide, and then however deep. That's coming.
Yeah.
And I've been looking at the Ohmtechs. Like I said, the what is it? The Pronto Ohmtech ones.
Yeah, the Pronto series is kind of their middle ground.
I'd love to have a Thunder, but I just don't know if I want to stretch that far right now.
Yeah.
I get the support is better. I get there's reasons you might want to go with it, but with me being able to work on them the way that I can, I'm really not that concerned about, support as much. As long as I can, especially if I can get it for like a third of the price or half the price. So, but I was perusing the internet today looking for one while I was waiting on some of the jobs to finish, because I'm like, I'm gonna wind up doing it. If this Reno, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not a bad machine. It's just it's still that small, size that it's not going to quite cover me.
Yeah, but it's a balance. I mean, you get these larger machines, and they take up some space. So.
Yep.
But yeah, like I said, I was happy with the Ohmtech maker, and I would both Clack and I have looked at the Pronto series as serious options. Like if that one job, that really pushes me over the edge to hit that order button, it's one of the ones I've got kind of bookmarked.
Oh yeah, if I had a customer call me up today and say, "Hey, from now on, we're going to start ordering these from you, and we're going to need this number a week," if I had to scale up production and go buy a bigger CO2 machine to take that job and get started, that's the Ohmtech. Or Monport has I've gotten a little bit of faith back in Monport with this Reno, but I don't want to go. I don't want to go all in yet. But I've gotten some faith back with their machines because the simple Reno, it works.
Yeah,
it's not the best, but it works.
The Duke of Tank is asking, for a small business where I engrave smaller pieces, would an F2 Ultra be a game changer over my F1? I'm usually doing each piece in 2 to 8 minutes. It's going to depend on what material you're working with. The UV. So hold on. We got the F2 Ultra.
Yeah, their naming scheme is confusing. The Ultra is not a UV.
Yeah. So getting that higher power fiber, if you're working in a lot of metal, doing engraving on those types of materials, yes. The blue diode, I feel with engraving, there's diminishing returns at the higher power. You can go a little bit faster, but in these small sizes, you're not getting up to those speeds. So you're probably going to find yourself running those jobs roughly the same speed. But on the metal ones, being able to do some of those things a little bit faster is going to help out. Is it a game changer? I don't know. That's a weird term to me, because a game changer would be like completely blowing open a new stream of creativity or income or whatever for you. The working area is going to be larger, so you can make a jig to do multiples. Things like that are going to help you.
One-offs for sizing, scaling, designs, and stuff like that, the camera is pretty handy. I'd still frame even with a camera, because sometimes you forget to take another picture or set your focus or whatever. But the camera can be useful if you're doing like one-offs. Now, if you're doing like 100 of something, of course, build a jig, make it quicker. But if it's a one-off, the camera would be an advantage on the F2 over the F1 also.
Well, and the F2 Ultra, and so I was going to mention that if you're looking at being portable, you may, if that's where you're using this a lot, you may want to consider just doubling down on equipment with another F1 or getting the F2, the non-Ultra version. That's going to have. I showed in my video, cutting and engraving. You do see a bit of speed increase on a few materials. So that's going to help you out, and just having two machines. But I would rather carry two of these smaller portable lasers to an event than lug one of those, the F1 Ultra the F2 Ultra or the Omtech Solus that I've got. These things they're heavy, and they're top heavy too. They're just less stable and less.
And there's really not a good place to hold it, like with the new Ultra. The whole cover slides up and down, and like the cover goes all the way around it. So you kind of have to like raise the cover and like reach your hand in and like hold it like a baby and carry it. So the Ultra series, either the F1 Ultra or the F2 Ultra machines, I do not consider them to be portable machines. I mean, I just don't. I would. It's just, for one, there's too many little sensitive pieces of electronics in there for me to be taking it. It's like I was telling Klein the other day. You take it to a craft event, and we all know there's two things that are going to be at craft event: unsupervised kids and dogs are going to be there. And all it's going to take is for one unsupervised kid running or something to hit your table and knock your table over, and your F2 Ultra hits the ground. That's going to suck, and the F1, the little F2 might survive. The F2 Ultra, the F1 Ultra is going to destroy it.
So he added in also the part of, or should I use that money to go for large format CO2? And I also see, just also posted clarification, there are times where I can do 60 to 100 leather keychains I cut out on a gantry and engrave with the F1 currently. Just the auto mode with the conveyor and the speed may save hours. I'm going to stop you there. No. The conveyor with the camera, you're going to be wasting more material unless your quality control standards are kind of low.
Yeah.
They're going to be all over the
If you
place.
like things in the center, you're going to waste a lot of materials. I'm just
Yeah.
going to be honest with you. I've seen some videos. I know they're out there, and it's like, oh, I did 100 of them, and 99 of them came out perfect. And then they show them, and I'm like, okay, your idea of perfect and my idea of perfect are not the same. Like if I've got a dog tag and I've got a 2-inch gap on one side of the engraving and the other side's almost touching the edge, that ain't perfect to me. I'm too OCD for that. No.
Yeah, I would strongly urge you to stay away from the conveyor systems for the automatic placement. And now, for things like I just showed on the P3, where you're feeding material through engraving and cutting it, sure, that's viable.
Yeah.
But where you're trying to have the AI or the camera automatically detect objects and place it accurately every time, I have yet to see a system do anywhere over 50-60% acceptable and over less than maybe 30 to 40% like dialed in.
Yeah, I did a bunch of like I just took some plywood and cut a bunch of wooden tokens because I wasn't going to waste my blanks. Yeah. And I did the test with the F1 Ultra and that conveyor. And I'm going to say 50% would be generous as far as what would pass my quality control.
Well, I said passable, and then 30 to 40 are actually accurate.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, 50% would be pushing it. Yeah. And like I said, like Steve said, if you're going to be like cutting a shape out and engraving it, okay, maybe it works. Okay. But like I did business cards with it and they weren't. And like I said, I watched X-Tool themselves. I watched their videos that they do. And when they hold up the things that they did with that automatic batch thing, they're not acceptable to my standards. So just stick with jigs on stuff like that. I mean, there is such a thing as too many shortcuts. You end up costing yourself blanks and you're not really saving any money because you're having to run the same job 2 or 3 times to get a usable product.
Yeah.
So in the long run, it's just costing you more money because you're using the same amount of time, but you're blowing through blanks quicker.
Yeah. And I feel like this is kind of the case scenario where I recommend people, when you're doing production level things where you want to do a lot of them, whether it's repeated cuts or, multiple on the bed, that's really where a larger format CO2 can really gain some speed for you, because they run faster. They usually can cut more efficiently, and the bigger work area just means you can load up more at once.
Yeah. Elaine's asking, says, what's your input? Came across the video, stated not to put your 3D printer in a common area. Have no choice, but my laser and 3D printer are both vented, air purifier and fan by a window. Well, I mean, if it's what is the resin printers, it's probably not a bad idea to put it somewhere away from people or filter it. But like, I haven't seen anything as far as like PLA is made from corn byproducts. So
yeah. So I mean, general consensus is, if you can vent it and if it can be outside of there, great. As long as you're doing like PLA, maybe PETG, they're generally considered safe. There are some VOCs, there are some concerns of microplastics with them but they're not, the fumes and such aren't as bad as, say, like ABS, where it really should be enclosed and vented. So it kind of depends on the filament. And you may have friends or family that are around you that have sensitivities they're breathing, and that might be something to consider in that. So
and the volume of printing that you're doing too. I mean, if you're running a print farm, then running them 8 hours a day is going to be different than if you print like 2 or 3 things a week.
Yeah. So, I mean, ideally you have a way to, I mean, you mentioned that you've got the laser in there and that's vented. Well, that's automatically cycling some of the air through your area you're working in. So, as long as you can cycle that air through, and you're not using some of those more, dangerous fume resins and filaments, I mean, I got to be careful what I say here, but general consensus is it's fairly safe.
Yeah. Of course, with anything, it's better to vent. I mean,
yeah.
with anything, even when you're cooking. But it's not always the case. All right, Steve Rossman is saying, is there a way to run one laser using a Lightburn and another using Xtool Studio from the same laptop? Yeah, I do it all the time. Matter of fact, I've been doing it past few days because I've got the F1 Ultra set up on the wireless, so I can operate it from over here while I'm doing stuff with the other machines.
So yeah, you can run multiple instances of Lightburn. So you could run 2 lasers on 2 different instances of Lightburn on the same computer. You just have to go and open a new instance. You can't open a new file from the existing window. Xtool Studio, you can open up to 6 projects at a time, and each project can be addressing a different laser. So even within the applications themselves, you can be running multiple lasers at once. And then the applications, like Clack said, you can run both of them at the same time. The only area it might get a little weird on is if you have too many of them and too many cameras on the same USB. Like if you have a USB hub and you're running them that way, the cameras can sometimes overload the bandwidth of those ports, and usually the first one wins and the others just fail. So there's some idiosyncrasies to that, depending on how you're set up with that. But yeah, definitely some options to run multiple lasers with the same or other software. What makes it tick? Mentions some of my engravings begin faint and get deeper after a few seconds of use. Any fixes? First timer here. And before that I mentioned just got a new OhmTex 60-watt maker, did the external air and have a 5200. I guess it depends on if it's the first run of the day. Depending on what your water temp is at. Sometimes if it's hot to begin with and then cools down, like if you have your chiller off and it needs to cool down, that water temperature can have an impact on the laser tube's output power if it gets really high. The same thing is the tube will warm up and things will kind of settle over some use. So if it's just like your first job, I would plan a kind of just a warm up cycle or a cool down cycle, depending on how you want to think of it. Get that chiller running for a little bit before you start engraving, and then maybe just run a quick test engrave. If it's every single job, that might be a little bit concerning about your power supply and wiring, or something might be not right, that it's having to kind of warm up to start. So what are your thoughts?
One of the things that I would check would be make sure it's not like affecting certain areas of your workspace, because with a CO2, one of the things that could cause that is if you have a mirror alignment issue, and say like the bottom right corner of your work area, the mirror's a little out of alignment, then you may be getting like partial power to that portion of the engrave. So I don't know if it's happening in the same spot in the work area every time. Pay attention to that. If you start seeing that it is like it's always faint in the bottom right corner or top left corner or whatever, then you may want to look at, it could be a mirror alignment issue. I've had that with some of the other CO2 lasers that I've had, to where I would get to where I was getting a little bit of deflection, like it was barely missing the hole, but it was hitting enough that I was getting a little bit of the laser, but not the full beam down onto the focusing lens. And that was the problem. It was just the alignment was a little bit off. That would be the only thing I could think of. But like you said, maybe the temperature of the tube going up and down or whatever. It's kind of like cars. I mean, when you first crank your car, a lot of times it takes it a minute to get to get running. Unless there's a setting somewhere. I mean, you never know.
Here's one for you.
No. If you're gonna make that decision, if that's your two options, you're really gonna regret it if you don't go with the S1. I'm just gonna throw it out there. We Create is like many laser companies. They had a good idea. They had some good like things going for them, but they got right down to the goal line and then just fumbled. So I mean, and I thought after the second or third one maybe they would quit. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be taking any more of their products, to be honest with you, because I've each time I try to give them one more try. Like this is, the first machine they sent me, I found two problems with it. It was a pre-release. They hadn't even released the machines yet. I brought it to their attention. They emailed me, said, we're going to address it. No problem. And then 3 weeks after everybody got their machines, everybody's air assist line started popping because when they stamped the piece of metal that went across the gantry, there was a sharp edge on it that was rubbing that little wound up hose that they put on there. All they had to do was move that connection point out a couple of inches on the side of the machine and take a piece of sandpaper and take the sharp edge off of that piece of metal, and it would have fixed it. And they didn't. And then it's just been a little rocky. Me and Steve actually met with them after the second machine. We met with them last year in CES, and we were told that they had learned some things. They were going to address the problems with the previous machines. They had moved some people around, and things were going to be different. And so we agreed to take the newest one, the 45 Pro, whatever. It was somewhat better. They fixed some of the issues, but they had other issues. We knew we had a problem when you open the box and it ships with 2 gantry cables, because there's only one reason why you send me 2 gantry cables. It's because one's going to fail. And Steve, how many gantry cables have you went through, Steve?
Where is that? But 4 at least, and I've had to repair some of them myself. Yeah, they have quality control issues. Some people have good luck with them.
My last machine, it's been running great. Like I gave it away at the last meet and greet. It's been running great, but Steve didn't have that kind of luck.
No, I spent way too much time trying to get. Well, both. I mean, the first machine I got, the 20, which was after the production was going, I had to tear the thing half apart and rebuild it before I even could get it to work right. And then the 45 Vision, I've yet to get it to a place where it's stable and working consistently. And so, I would strongly urge you to go towards the S1 40 watt if those are the 2 you're looking at. I think you are going to have a better experience.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The Craft from Adam Stack is a good.
Yep.
Like it's a good competitor. Like it's a better competitor than the We Create to the S1.
Yeah, and they've got the 40 watt module out yet or now. When you and I got them, they didn't have that out yet, and so that would definitely be another good one to consider. But yeah, I've just had so many quality control issues and other quirks with their software and how they lock their machines into unidirectional engraving. I mean, it just kind of nerfs them from the get-go and such. So it's just, I don't know. Yeah. I know some people like them and have had luck with them, but it's not been my experience.
Well, there's another one. Matter of fact, says Stephen Massey says, my We Create Vision 20 watt completely lost power in the middle of running a job. What could cause this? There's a bunch of stuff, but obviously the first one would be the power supply if you're not getting any lights or anything. Now, I will say I've been seeing where people are saying that they're working with them to get them fixed, but I don't know. But if it just completely shut down, I would say possibly a power failure, power supply.
Yeah, does that one have?
It has the built-in power supply in the back of it, if I'm not mistaken.
I was trying to remember that one. If you kind of have to start from one end or the other, and on that power supply or a power issue, I usually start on the power supply side and see if that's gone bad, or even on my original generic CO2 laser, I had to go into that thing and tighten down connections things can work loose in shipping. And so, and that was part of with the original 20 watt that I had to tear it apart to tighten up some screws that had come loose. So power is one of those frustrating things that you kind of have to start at the one end where you have known good power and work that way. And if you're not comfortable with the voltmeter or it gets into the electronics too quick, it's really hard to say.
Brad said, is there a way to speed up the Atom Stack A40 moving between cuts or engraves? My X40 does the same thing, and it's irritating. I haven't figured out a good way of doing it that's not going to mess everything else up. So I just deal with it. I've tried speeding things up, turning frame speeds up, white space scan. None of that affects it. It's in the controller somewhere, but I haven't. Typically when I'm doing jobs, especially bigger stuff, I've got something else going on anyway. And so I don't worry about it. I just let it run. It gets through when it gets through.
Yeah.
I've got plenty of other machines for the most part, unless it's something big.
I was going to say you've had longer nano machines.
Yeah, the longer nano and the LP4 or 5 look to be similar machines. Are they interchangeable between the two machines? No. I don't think so. The nano, they do look similar, but I don't think it's far because both of those machines, you're going to have to use their software with the attachments more than likely. I mean, I'm not going to say you couldn't make the attachments work if that's what they're asking. But it would probably be a pain because just making the longer nanos attachments work in Lightburn was a pain. So trying to make an LP4 bed slider work with a longer nano in Lightburn would be an extraordinary pain. So yeah, I wouldn't try it. If you're trying to get like accessories and interchange, I wouldn't try it. They do look very familiar. The rotary could possibly be the rotary looks really, really like similar. And a lot of times these companies do buy certain components like from other manufacturers already put together. And so there's a chance that it could be the same one, but there's a chance it could be totally different too. So I don't know that I would chance it unless you just got like a buddy across the street that has it. And you want to try it out and see if it works.
Yeah. Santa's laser engraving. I was considering a 3D printer, but the more I see the UV, the more I think it would be a better choice. Barring reviews coming, would it be a good replacement for MOPA for the multi-material use?
What, a UV laser or UV printer?
I'm guessing since he's comparing it to a MOPA, I'm going with laser. The UV is going to be compatible with more materials, but it's going to be less aggressive at like your depth engravings and such. So
if you're wanting to do something deep, then a UV is not going to be fast, especially in metal. Like if you're doing deep engraving in metal, a UV, although you can do some depth with it, maybe on some of the softer metals, you're not going to, like stainless steel, you're not going to be doing stuff like this with a UV. You're just not. Like that's a MOPA job right there. Now, if you want something that you can engrave on everything from silicone to PLA to wood to brass to and like market type engraving, UV is the way to go. But if you start trying to remove material, the MOPA is gonna beat the UV hands down.
Yep.
Dun, dun. But now I do like the UV bandwidth though, like the frequency range. It's very versatile. Speaking of which, my Omni X is now a 10 or 12 watt I'm going to go ahead and tell you. I mean, I like Com Marker. I do. But they're saying that it's a 12 watt, but quite literally, there's a sticker on the side of that source that they sent me that says power rating 10 watts.
When did they say it's a 12 watt?
All their marketing, they're saying it's a 12 watt.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Because I've had people messaging me, hey, is that the 10 or the 12 watt? I'm like, well, it's technically the 12 watt, but it's a 10 watt. Yeah.
Everything they mentioned to me is that it was 10.
Yes, but then things changed. If you look, like right here, see, 6 watts, 12 watts. So it like they updated their website and now everything says 6 and 12 instead of 5 and 10. So yeah. And if you go to the Omni, is it the Omni 1? 5 and 10. So I don't know, but and maybe they did some more testing on the modules, but the one that they sent me that I bolted to, gosh, I hate these freaking pop-ups. The one that they sent me that I bolted to my machine, like right here, the Omni XXE upgrade, this is 12 watt. That's what it says right there. And that's, now I will say that is the exact connections that I have because I had to have the new cables and stuff. But they're saying that it's a 12 watt. But on mine, the sticker says 10. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe they're doing the whole peak wattage thing, like it's capable of 12 right before it blows up. I don't know. So, but yeah, because I went on there the other day I was doing the install and looking and getting ready to do my conversion video. I got all the B-roll and everything together, and I saw that and I'm like, well, where's the 10 watt? And there is no more 10 watt. Like the Omni X they do not refer to it as a 10 watt anymore.
I don't know. Bob is asking, what would you recommend for apartment living situations? I would love to cut 1/2-inch thick wood, but CO2 lasers are out of questions.
Oof. You're not going to want to run a CNC in an apartment.
Yeah. So, I mean, 1/2-inch thick material, unless you're running a CNC, you're going to be, even a 40 watt will get through it eventually. But it's probably going to be multiple passes. And it's probably going to be like aspen or poplar, real lightweight types of wood. You're going to struggle getting through things like oak and cherry and such like that. So coupled with living in an apartment, I mean, you can build an enclosure and you can vent it, but now you got to worry about your neighbors. And also, if you're venting through a screen, it is going to gunk that up really bad.
Really
so
fast.
Depending on, do they let you take the screen out? I don't know. That's a tough situation there as far as cutting material, because that is going to create some smoke.
A lot of smoke.
So
like today I was running cutting those letters out, and when I walked to the house to get me some tea and looked back toward the shop, it looked like the place was on fire because I was, like I said, I had a 40 watt cutting this 1/4-inch ply. Whew. Steve Massey says, which S1 would you recommend, 20 or 40 watt? I'm just going to be honest with you. My approach is, if you can swing it, if it's in the budget, just go ahead and get the 40. It's still got really good like engraving capabilities as far as like photorealistic stuff or whatever, but cutting is going to be a lot faster, and doing tumblers is going to be a lot faster. Because that was my tumbler machine up until recently. And if I get a big tumbler job and things don't go the way I want them to, it may be back in service again. But between the OhmTech Polar and now the Reno, I think I'm good with a CO2 for tumblers. So I prefer a CO2 for tumblers. But if I had to use a diode laser, a gantry diode laser in my shop to do tumblers, it would be my F1. And I got plenty of gantry style machines in here. Now the Galvos, the F1 does a good job on tumblers. Heck, the We Create Lumos actually did a good job on tumblers. It was a little slow because it was unidirectional that everybody swears is faster. That don't make no sense. But it's S1's a good machine. I can't knock it. Like they haven't came out with anything. X-Tool hasn't, in my opinion, as far as a gantry machine. They haven't come out with any machine that beats it as far as like an entry level machine. It's simple. The P2, it has some cool features, but it's kind of like having power windows on a vehicle that you can't drive on the interstate. I mean, it's just like I don't want to use those cool features because the 2 or 3 things that I do want it to do, it doesn't do real well. So.
Gray Vikings asking, how's Biscuit doing these days?
Wild, crazy. He figured out that there's pine straw in the flower beds, and he thinks that the flower beds where the dog's supposed to sleep. And yeah, he's just been a mess. It's gotten cooler weather, and that dog is having a blast. Well, it had until today. It was 80 again today, but it had been cooler, and he was loving it. But today it was like 80 degrees. He just slept all day. But yeah, he's hanging in there.
Jer Williams is asking, how does UV work on coated tumblers? Did you do a test on any coated material with that?
I have. I did a couple of I played around a little bit with the Omni before, and it'll do them, but it ain't gonna do them fast. Now you can do some cool stuff with the powder coating. Like if it's a let's like say it's a white, or if it's a yellow or a green powder coating, you can actually like change color of the powder coating without removing it. Like I did some like orange ones, of course, and you can actually make the orange turn black, or you can make the orange come off. It's really cool, but it's not fast. So if you're wanting to do like a really cool tumbler and do some wild stuff with the colors, and maybe have like 2 or 3 colors on a tumbler, because you can actually do like change the color of the coating, remove the coating, or remove the coating and stain the stainless. I mean, you technically could have 3 colors in tumbler with a UV, which you can do with other machines as well. It's just a little more of a balance because a fiber or something like that, you got to be careful because you'll go way too hot real quick. But I don't know that a UV would be my go-to for tumblers. Now, if you're doing glass, heck yeah. Like if you're doing wine glasses or, like pint, what is it? What do they call those things? Dang it. Like the beer jugs or whatever, any kind of glass or clear stuff, the UV is the way to go. But tumblers work best with a CO2, period. You can do it with a blue diode. You can do it with a fiber, but to me, it works best with a CO2.
Yeah, the thing to remember with UV lasers is they have a really small dot size, and so they're great at detail. But if you want to paint a room with it, it's going to take a lot longer than with a bigger brush. So if you need the detail, it's going to be great at it. But for typical tumblers like this, you don't need that fine point detail. It's going to take a lot longer to fill this in versus CO2 or diode.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because you're looking at like with a UV, you're looking at like, what in the heck? What the? Stand by. This cat has just brought me a. Come here. Oh, no. Come here. Come here. Come here.
Well, now we're curious. Brought you a present.
I don't want to smell it. Hang on, let me get rid of this.
So, anyone know any good jokes? Yeah. So, I mean, here's a good response to that too. Both UV and fiber MOPA galvos reach for the UV 98% of the time, but if you want faster production for business card pens or something like that, the fiber wins. So yeah, the UV is great because you have a lot of flexibility in materials. It's harder to overburn things, but if you want to really crank things out, that's where, you know, switching source to something a little more suited works best.
Oh, yeah, she'd have hid that somewhere in here. Next week, I'd be looking for it.
Well, lucky you already see it.
She come walking in the door and it's like hanging out both sides of her mouth. Oh, Lord.
Yep.
She usually meows a lot when she brings something like that in, and she did. She come through the hole over there, just meowing. All right, where was we at before I got distracted by the field rat?
We were talking about UV lasers, but Eileen is saying, got the X-Tool F2, love the reduction in time for items, but my camera seems off. Not sure if it's something I'm doing. The pick is like it's at an angle instead of straight on for a flat item. You may need to go in. A lot of the X-Tool lasers have a calibration that you rarely need to run, but they usually also have a reset, which will take it back to factory. So it sounds like maybe whether it accidentally got recalibrated improperly or just is out of calibration, you might want to just try the reset option. So if you go into your X-Tool Studio and open up the device settings, and there should be calibration options under there. I would try that and see if that helps out.
Yeah, I forgot I didn't plug it up. I was going to turn mine on, but I don't have it plugged up or anything right now.
B. Neil says, I wish they would add new modules to S1. Yeah, I feel like that was kind of the big thing. It was more of a module, easy swap module based laser, and nothing's come out. So,
well, they squirreled and went to creating other machines, and I do agree. I wish they would go back and like. There's some minor things that I would like to see in that machine, like you said, but maybe some more different modules. I mean, they got the 2-watt IR. I've got it. It does okay. But yeah, it would be definitely cool for them to revisit that machine like they have the other ones.
Yeah, definitely would. Radu is saying, Steve, saw your vid, noticed the Creality dryer. How do you adjust if you have two different filaments that need different settings? Unfortunately, that one is all or nothing.
You don't.
Yeah, same thing with my Sunlu AMS top one. You basically have one setting for the whole thing because there's no separation of bays. Now, there are some filament dryers that have individual bays in one, and then you can set those, but generally that I'll either run it at the lower setting, then pull the other one out and run the other one, or I'll just wait.
They make a single. You can get the single dryers.
Yep.
For a single roll. I think I've got the same one, the 2-roll, and yeah, same thing. I'll dry, which most of what I'm going to be doing is going to be doing PLA. I might do some PETG every now and then, but I'll dry it. Put it in a Ziploc with some desiccant and store it, and then put the other ones in there and dry it and repeat and rinse. So I don't keep the filament in there.
Yep.
Oh, called beer steins. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What y'all doing? I'm paranoid about these cats now. Coming in now.
Yeah. I asked them if anybody had any jokes while you were dealing with your situation.
Oh, there's 3 of them that live here, by the way. Y'all met Fluffy. Y'all know Callie. Y'all see Callie a lot. Tiger is the elusive one. Like she's wild. That's why y'all don't see her a whole lot. I think earlier in the live, she did come down the ladder from the attic. But what they'll do is they'll take that mouse and they'll take it up there. And then like tomorrow or the next day, I'll walk in here and be like, "What is that smell?" And so then it's like a hunt.
Yep.
So,
Eileen mentions the Chitu dryer. So yeah, they have the dryer box. They have a few different ones, but they have one that has 2 removable chambers, so you can run separate settings, which is kind of nice. And it looks like the box is dock. So yeah, filament drying, and Creality has a 4-spool kind of dual one, looks like. So there are options, but they're going to cost more. The Creality one that you and I run are anywhere from $70 to $90 depending on when you get it. Sometimes they run sales, and so it's kind of a happy medium, but you are stuck drying one flavor at a time.
hardcore print, you have the camera with an AI that recognizes a cat with a mouse in his mouth. That wasn't a mouse. That was like a field rat. That thing was like a little baby possum. They catch mice occasionally, but where I live, like we're back in the woods, of course. And those field rats, they like to get up there to chicken pen because chickens have food, and so the cats, I guess, at night will go up there and just ambush them. And every now and then they'll bring me one. But that was actually a pretty good size one there. I think it was like 2 days ago. There was a chipmunk I got. He was outside. So they're working cats. They definitely not just like little princess cats. They put in the work.
Yep.
Now that wasn't Fluffy. That was Callie that did that.
Cool. I think we've accidentally caught up. So if we missed your question, go ahead and drop it back in again. We'll try to make sure we get them covered. Otherwise, now's a good time to remind people we have some links down in the description of each channel that has our socials. So if you're not following us on Facebook or Instagram, we like to post little teasers there as well. We also have a Facebook group called the Laser Engraving Community that kind of formed out of this. So if you're on Facebook and want to join that, definitely check that out as well. There's a map that I need to update. I keep forgetting to do that. That you can put your pin in, and we kind of reference that when we're going to be in an area, such as this coming January. We'll be at Las Vegas for CES again. And so if we get a chance, we'll try to let people know that we might be planning to be at a certain restaurant or bar or something to hang out. We like getting to meet people when it's appropriate and able. So that does help us see who's in an area if we're going to be somewhere. So, and if you're at one channel and you're not familiar with the other, that's David. Go see his channel, subscribe to him.
Yeah, always. Like I said, we work together on a lot of things. There's and we look at things a little different perspectives from time to time. But the one thing that I can assure you is we're gonna tell you what we think about it. And I know I had a bit of a heckler today on my Facebook page. But hey, you know what? It's like me and Steve talked about though. When you start getting those trolls in your posts, that means you're reaching a new audience. So that's a positive, especially when you quit your job and go full time, doing this. Or I say quit my job. I retired from my job and went full time doing this. Now I will say there are some folks out there that sometimes get a little salesy. I'm not defending those guys, but this person was like commenting towards me, and I was just,
Yep. Eileen says, "Come to the West Coast." Go to Arizona. Does that count? That's kind of Southwest.
Yeah.
I would. there are parts of the West Coast I would like to see, and there are parts of the East Coast I'd like to see yet. But yeah, it's a bit of a trek. I mean, even getting down to Arizona to see Cody and my dad. I mean, yeah, I can fly, but there's always complications with that, and then it's harder to bring stuff to and from. It's a good 24-hour drive and boring drive. If anyone has ever driven across the central U.S., it's not a lot out there to entertain you on the road. So,
no, I've been to was it Arkansas, and I've been to Missouri, but I haven't really been further than that. Now I plan to. I plan to as soon as I can get some things settled down and get life worked out. I plan to do a few trips. Me and Brandy were talking about the other day when we go see Steve. You know what we're going to do while we're up there, and you know we can't decide. Do we want to go in the warmer months, or do we want to see some actual snow? Like we've never saw like actual snow. Well, we had maybe twice in my life have I stepped in snow that came up to my ankles, like twice in my lifetime. So
there,
you know,
so
we might want to wait till there's like 6 foot of snow on the ground and just drive up there.
there are other ways to experience multitudes of snow than coming to the Midwest in winter.
Well, I mean, there is Denver. I mean,
you could go to, well, not necessarily Denver proper, but you could go to the Rocky Mountains in summer and hike up to a glacier and have a snowball fight in the middle of summer. But yeah, it's sometimes it's not the volume of snow. It's just we get it in the wind and there's nothing to stop it here. I mean, this is all, I'm in farm country, Minnesota. Now you go up north, it's prettier. But down here it's I mean, now I do live in a river valley, so it is a little bit nicer, but a lot of the area around here is literally farm field, cluster of trees because there's a farmstead there. You know, it's just flat open area. And so it's not the most scenic place to come and experience snow because usually you're experiencing cold weather and wind with it. So
there's a pondering question right there. So Derek's asking if you had to start over with your first machine and with what you know now, what laser would be your go-to? Well, I started off with an X-Tool D1 10 watt, and I'm going to be honest with you, for where I was at in my journey and what I was doing and all that, that was a good choice. It didn't put me too bad in the hole. As far as like I didn't go broke to get it. I didn't finance anything or nothing like that. So like if I could only have one today, of course, currently it would be my X40 because that's what I make all my money with for the most part. Like I've made, I don't know, this past week, $1,200 with my X40. Yeah, about 12. So, I mean, I have used other machines. Like I did some stuff with the fiber the other day, but the majority of the money that I make with this X40. But not that I couldn't do it with another machine, but it would have to be a big machine. It had to be like a wider machine than what most are. When I first started doing my stove covers and stuff, I did use the X-Tool D1, and I made a little bracket that bolted. Like I clamped the bracket to the stove cover and then set the machine down in the holes, and that worked. So, I mean, I could go with one of these other machines, but to me, that question, you have to answer that with what do you plan on making with it? What is your budget? And like what kind of volume of products are you going to be doing? So that's the biggest thing is you need to get the machine that fits your business plan if you have one. If you don't have a business plan, don't buy a machine till you get one. So that's my opinion. What do you say, Steve?
Yeah, there's a lot of it depends there. I guess for me, thinking back to when I I was on this path 10 years ago. Like, I had my CNC machine. I was looking at model airplane parts. And so I was like, I knew a laser would be helpful. And so back then the diodes weren't an option. It was the cheap eBay red sale. OhmTech was just getting started, kind of CO2 lasers. And a lot of people were doing the K40s and such. And I ended up with a modest, I started out low and then kind of went to where my budget would take me, where I felt comfortable spending that money. And that was that 60 watt, which turned out to be a 50 watt tube with a 60 watt power supply laser that was about 27 wide and 17 and change deep. And that was pretty good for me at the time. It did most everything I wanted to. But now entering in diodes into the option, it depends on what you're needing to do. Like you were saying, I feel like maybe the X40, that kind of wider, shallow, open frame diode laser is a lot cheaper than your same size CO2. And so it gives you that working area that you might want, that flexibility, but it's still light enough that you can move it around. If you're handy enough, you can build your own custom enclosure for it and be successful without breaking the bank. You can do a lot with that. So I feel like that would gear that way. But if you're a person like, say, you're wanting to get into acrylics, that's not really the option you're going to want to go. So it kind of depends a little bit on what you're looking at. You have to make sure that the machine can work your material. But short of having just like a crazy business deal, someone really wants me to do a lot of stuff and I'm confident I can get this other bigger machine up and running, I'm probably still going to look at a diode, just cost-wise, less initial investment, lowers your initial risk, and you can do a lot with it.
Well, and that's where I'm at. Like I was sitting here today, like I said, I was cutting out all these letters. It was a good bit of. It took a while. Like this is a box full of 8-inch. These are 8-inch letters. And so it took a little while on the X40 because I didn't want to be over there with an X-Acto knife trying to, make sure they cut completely loose. So I set a good setting for this material and I ran it 2 passes just to be sure, and I'm like, I got more time than I do material. So I let it run 2 passes just to be sure. And, 2 passes at like 8 millimeters a second, it's not terrible. I used to do like 4 passes at 6 millimeters a second with my D1. So it's not terrible, but if I had a bigger CO2 machine, I could have knocked this box of letters out a lot faster. I could have done them faster on my A70, but the problem is now I'm only doing like 5 letters at a time and I'm wasting material because I can't use a bigger sheet. So I was thinking about it today. I was like, I guess I need to go ahead and get me a bigger CO2. And then I thought, I'm like, you know what? How many times in the past 3 or 4 months has my machines limited my throughput? Have I been sitting there waiting on machines? And really, this is the only time. You know what I mean? And I was actually modifying my Reno while these ran. Doing the air assist over there. So as long as I'm multitasking, it's not that big of a deal, and that's what makes it so hard for me to spend the money on, another machine. I'd love to have one. I'd love to have me a Thunder 51. I mean, I'd love it, but that's a lot of money. That's like half a shop, and I want to build a shop before I buy a bigger machine because space is something I don't have enough of. Machines, if I had enough room, I could spread out and have, 2 or 3 different machines running at the same time, which is what I usually do. So me personally, you just got to figure out what machine is going to benefit you and what you do. Like I said, the stove covers are one of my biggest money makers is the stove covers, and then the signs, the name signs and stuff like that for nurseries and so forth. Those are a good little stream of revenue. And then like these numbers and letters and stuff like this, just random stuff. So, but yeah, it's you just got to figure out what works for you. Like I said, now if you're just doing it as a hobby and you got an unlimited budget, and just get you a nice one, But my problem right now is I start looking at my business and I'm like, my money would be better spent here, so, or just be better just to keep it in the bank and not send it to nobody, whichever.
Yep. Where was that one? Sharon's asking, is there a way to add an IR module to the Sculpt Fun iCube? You had that one. Was it
I think that I had one of the early ones.
Yeah. So the mounting on it, was it?
It would be possible, as long as the power output and everything was okay. I don't remember if they made one or not.
I mean, I don't know that they did, because they came out with the Ultra that does have the 2 different modules. So, but I mean, technically possible, but you'd have to find the right mount, and you'd have to double check that the wiring is the power is going to be able to drive it, and then the wiring is the same.
Oh, wait a minute! Heck, the Sculpt Fun Ultra is $399. It's got the 12-watt diode with a 1.2 watt IR.
Is
so
the 399 model come with the IR? Because I thought the dual one was.
That's what it's saying. I mean, I'm just going by what's on this website right here. This is these pop-ups. $399. I mean, I guess maybe that's a sale that they got going on right now.
What are the options down? I can't read on what it.
It says it's a 12-watt diode, 2-watt dual lasers, US plug.
Huh. That's come down. I mean, it's holiday sales, I'm sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, apparently they got a camera and everything goes with it now. So,
those are add-ons, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's showing right there. Well, no, wait a minute. No, the 399. Hang on.
Yeah, no. See, there you go. With the IR, it's $599.
$599. Okay. Yeah, you have to select it. Black is selected. So, yes, $599 for the IR, and then it's $399 for the blue. So, yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. If you're talking about buying an IR module to put on an already existing iCube, you might be better off just get the one already built that way. Oh,
Trying to see what today. I thought they sold the module individually, and I kind of felt like it was not exactly cheap.
Yeah, it's probably not. I didn't see it. I didn't look that hard.
Right. Anyway, yeah, Brian agreed. Nebraska, I got some friends there, but it's there's not much there. There's a couple trees. It's kind of like the eastern 2/3 of South Dakota. About the same.
Yep. Oh.
Yeah, you saw Brian's comment was she might be listening. You only made $600.
Yeah. Well, the thing is though, is with those cutting boards and the stove covers, like right now I'm wiped out. What happened was they hit me with like a bunch of them. Like I had a bunch on my board, so I did like 8 or 10, and then turned around. As soon as I got them cleared up, they hit me with a bunch more. And so like I did 2 batches of stove covers last was it? I guess it was last week or about the last week. And then I did some other jobs and this, that, and the other here and there. Like I said, I've had quite a few. I did those bricks the other day on the fiber. I finished them up, got them out of here, got paid for that job, and some other little small stuff here and there. So it's been very productive. Brandy was telling me, she's like, you thought you was going to have extra time, but you seem very busy. And so far I have been. But that's good because if I'm busy, that means I'm making money. So.
Captain's Laser is asking, can I use my Monport 65 watt to cut holes in it to mount their camera? I'm guessing they're talking about the kind of the acrylic top to that, or the plexiglass top.
I mean, in theory.
It depends on what it's actually made out of. If there's like if it's polycarbonate versus acrylic, it's going to be ugly to cut through.
It's going to be a little melty.
Yeah. And so I would hope it's actually polycarbonate and not acrylic, because it would be better actually blocking the errant beams than straight acrylic would be. So I don't know. That's the kind of thing where
could do though would be to take your laser and cut a jig and then use it with an appropriate drill bit, because cutting that kind of material, there is a specific drill bit for cutting of plastics and acrylics.
Yeah. That larger one, I'm guessing there's a larger hole for the actual camera lens to go through. Screw holes aren't going to be too bad with the right typical drill bit. You can take it easy and get that, but it'll crack and shatter in a hurry if you use the wrong one. So I don't know. It depends on what it's made out of. I haven't had the reason to try that.
Yep.
I guess you could take one of the side panels, because that's made from the same material. Drop that in there and do a quick test, because it's not as big of a deal if you put a small hole in the back panel on the on the laser tube or something.
Yeah, just you just put a piece of tape over it or something.
Yeah, a little black electrical tape.
Yeah. Thank you there, Maverick. I haven't done any tumblers on the F2 Ultra UV yet. I've got my old trusty RA2 Pro, and I had to get X-Tool to send me a new cable, because I relocated my F1 Ultra and one of my RA2s, and that person got the cable that I needed, and I didn't realize it until I went to try to use it. So I had to get another cable. But I do have my RA2 Pro set up, or ready to set up and try some stuff with it. I was going to try it with the F1 as well as the F2 Ultra eventually. I don't know when that'll be, because it's been busy. But I also was told, I don't know, but I was told that I would get the opportunity to try the new RA3. But I haven't seen anything on that, and I'm checking my email just to see. But I haven't seen any like shipping notifications or emails or anything about that, because it looks cool enough. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I like my RA2 Pro with the accessories. I'm not that sweating about it. But Golden Boy there, wait a minute, hang on, hold that back up.
What?
Okay, I see what they did. All right, I was just looking at the nut and everything.
See, the nice thing is everything's magnetic, so it's fairly easy to swap things around. And yeah, this does tilt, but even like these chuck bits, they key in, but you can move them out a lot easier than all the fiddly screws. So I've just started playing with it. How well does that work? I don't know, but so far I'm kind of liking what I see.
Kevin's asking, has anybody found useful uses for 3D printing poop? I don't do a whole lot of multicolor stuff.
Well, even single color creates it.
Yeah, but it's not enough for me to be trying to do nothing with it. I just throw it away.
Yeah.
I throw away more prototypes. I waste more filament prototyping stuff than I do with anything. Hey, and I'm going to tell you, I started to do a video the other day because I consider myself to be a fairly intelligent guy. I'm pretty smart with machines. But the other day, I was trying to prototype a lens cover for the Ultra because it has a massive lens on it, and I didn't have a lens cover that would fit it already made. And I was printing out lens covers. Like this is a small one, but I was printing out like a lens cover, and that thing's huge for that machine over there. A matter of fact, this is the actual X-Tool sends it with it lens cover right here. It's black so that it's camouflaged and you'll forget to pull it off. It has that little string coming off of it. But anyway, so I was printing these. I printed 2 of them. I had a little bit of an issue getting the tension right on it to where it wasn't so tight that you had to have 2 hands to put it on there and pull it off, but it wouldn't just fall on its own free will. And so I was having to, adjust it minutely. When suddenly I realized and remembered, instead of having to print the whole darn thing with like all this top and everything, I was like, won't I just split the part and just print the ring until I get the ring to go on there, and that'll save a lot of filament. And then once I find I got it right, then I can print the rest of it. And it took like a third of the time because I didn't have to print all of this top. I didn't have to print the supports. Like it literally was 10 minutes to print the ring. And then I got the ring to where it would fit on there. And then once I confirmed my ring fit, I hit print, printed the whole thing. But I never thought about that, being able to slice it in the slicer and like delete half of it and just print the ring. Have you ever done that? Did you even think about that?
No, I always get it right the first time, so I don't have problems like that.
Yeah, okay. But I was like, instead of me having to go into Fusion and just jack up my whole design, I can literally just slice it in the slicer and throw that part away. And that's what I did. And I got it to where it slides in one-handed, but it's got just enough friction to hold it in place. It works like a dream.
Cool. But no, I haven't. I mean, I've done some multicolor stuff and or even just printing out a number of things. It's kind of frustrating the amount of waste that comes on those. So I know a few people have recycled it, made their own filament and such, but I don't know. Maybe you could bag it and make some insulation for your shop.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could put it in like maybe one of those little candle melter things or whatever. Ooh. And I don't know. I just throw it away because like I said, it burns really well. I can tell you that. It just like the other day I had to burn like 3 of these. I printed like 3 of these things, and the only difference in the 3 was this little lip. Because if you look real careful, you can see there's a little ridge right there. And what that is that's just a little added resistance, but it's not the whole inner circle. So that little ring that's in there adds just enough resistance where that thing pops in there just right. And then, of course, once I find one that works, then I have to print a couple just to make sure that there's consistency. And then get my final product. But yeah, this is the new design for the F1 or F2 Ultra UV lens cover. It fits both lenses, luckily.
Oh. Tim Arthur says there's a lot of Thunder 51s on Facebook Marketplace. He'll tow one down for you.
Hey, I expanded my search earlier to 100 miles, and there weren't any that popped up. Trust me, I'm on the lookout. I did find in Georgia there's a Maker. Was it Maker 25? Home Tech. That I found that was pretty pretty reasonable as far as the price goes.
I don't feel like that's big enough for you.
No, it wasn't. When I got to looking at the specs, I'm like, if I'm gonna buy one, I need to go ahead and get it needs to be at least big enough for me to fit my stove covers in. If I could put the stove covers in it, that way it gives me another thing is it gives me a backup machine for my stove covers, or either I could do 2 stove covers at one time. But normally what I'm doing is while one's engraving over here on this machine, I'm over here at my table sanding, drilling holes, putting on handles, doing, whatever. So yeah, it's not generally a problem for me. But somebody was telling me at the meet and greet the other day, he found one on Marketplace and got it for like half price. They had to drive a couple hours to get it, but I'd be willing to do that. Yeah, see, there it is. There's the one that I found. It's a 60 watt. It's not terrible, but yeah, it's not ideal either.
Looks like JR's down in your neck of the woods ish.
Well, yeah, he told me the other day. He messaged me the other day, said he was headed down to Mobile, but coming from Atlanta to Mobile, he does
across south
through here.
Yeah. Well, he put out a good video on dust extraction if you're looking at that for like CNCs or just general woodworking tools. So he does a nice job on his videos. So if you're interested in more traditional dust collection, not so much the smoke extraction we do, you should definitely check out his channel for that as well.
Yeah, that was a really nice setup. A little too nice for my little shop.
Yeah, Mark, you're not wrong. Driving through farm country is kind of nice. And as a matter of fact, every time I come, I drive and I come back and I get into kind of farm country and seeing Casey's general stores and Menards and things like that, there's just kind of like, okay, I feel like I'm more home. That being said, you get west of here, it's less farms and more just plains, and a lot of nothing. But yeah, no, it is fun getting on the back roads and driving through kind of rolling hill farm country and such too. So doing a bad job selling the Midwest. I wouldn't want to come up here in winter unless I really liked cold weather and snow, not necessarily a thing to come up and just experience it. Cause you might go, yep, had enough, we're leaving now, but you just got here.
Yeah. Now I think that other machine somebody's asking it's a $2,800 is what they're wanting for it. It's in Georgia, Cedartown, Georgia, and it's not a bad machine, but this one's a 20 by 28 work area, and it's just a little less than what I need. I need that like 32 wide and 22 and a half deep at least, because if I had a 30 and a half by 22 and a half, I could set a stove cover in there. Like I said, because if I'm going to get one, it needs to be able to do stuff like that. Not that it's going to be able to give me the nice brown and grays that I get with my diodes, but it might. And so we'll see. Brandy said I'm too looking forward to Menards.
Well, they came out with these dancing bears that were singing the Menards theme song, and I think they sold out really quick. I know my local one had one day I was in there, but I was like, I'm not spending $20 on this dancing bear. But there, for a very large home store, building store, not quite the farm side of a Fleet and Farm. They've got some things, but not as much as others like Fleet Farm or Tractor Supply. But yeah, they're They're a Midwest staple. They're pretty cool.
But yeah.
Where was it? Robert's asking, can you engrave on glass with an IR laser?
Not well.
Not well. And I was trying to play around with that to try to find some settings on a 20-watt fiber, which is in that infrared wavelength. And the problem is it goes from nothing to shattering the glass with heat really, really fast.
Yeah.
So it's not anything I would choose. I mean, I would take a blue diode over an IR for that. Now, UV, yes, great. But CO2, same thing, but not so much the IR.
Yeah, a blue would do better than a IR, but yeah, I've played around with trying to do that with some of the fibers and stuff, and it doesn't work. It's not a good idea. Like you said, it gets very, very explosive. Somebody was saying there was a thunder on the. Yeah, there's a couple of them that if you span far enough.
Tony's asking, will Weldon 4 join PLA to acrylic? I don't believe it will, due to the nature of being plant-based and whatnot. I don't think it will work well for that. Depending on the type of, depending on the type of bond that you're looking for, you could, well, I guess acrylic. There's a, do I have any of it here? Let me check if I've got some here. Hold on a second.
He's gonna go find his favorite. This is his favorite thing to find is a glue. He has a bit of a collection of glues.
All right, so you could use normal epoxy, but you're going to need to scuff up both of them and to give it a bite. But there's these types of glue that this is a type of epoxy kind of thing, but it's what is it? Methyl methacrylate. It's a really caustic glue, but it will bond most anything to anything. And you mix it up 2 parts, and it's kind of the problem is it's not a glue that's going to hide very well. So if it's like a clear object, this is it's not what you want to work with, because it's kind of a, I don't know, like a tan to a yellowish color when it dries. But that will definitely bond it for structure, but it's not going to be the most nice looking. If you want something that's a little more nice looking, I would maybe go with like a contact cement kind of thing. That's going to be more clear, but PLA to acrylic, your CA glue is going to fog it up, and that's not going to be good. You could try epoxy if you can scuff the edges, and that's not going to hinder it. But some plastics to plastics are a little odd. Find your laser yet?
I did find the one. I think this is the one they were talking about. It's in Hickory, Tennessee. It's a 35, a Nova 35, 90 watt. What's the work area on a Nova 35?
Steve B says Nebraska has more than cornfields. There are bean fields and some wheat and beets. Get off I-80. Yeah, I've gone off the interstate. Like I come down through Sioux City, Iowa, and then kind of cut across. Well, I guess that gets into Omaha and such. But one of the times I came back from Arizona, I kind of came up through Kansas and split the state in two and skipped half of I-80.
Right, 35 by 23.
It's there's more out there, but it's a lot of plains.
I'll be honest with you, it ain't bad. Look like that honeycomb don't look like it's been used.
Order now. Spend that money.
Hey, if I was gonna get one, that would be about what I would. Like I said, it's not too big. The 35. It says this is a 90 watt. The 35 is saying that the work area is 35 by 23, which is just under, like just over what I need to do a stove cover. So, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, that's not a bad. It's not a bad little setup there. Now they're saying that one's a 90 watt, but they're showing that it only comes in an 80 or a 100. So, a little discrepancy there. It's got a CW 5000 with it. Of course, I have the CW 5200 over here. Oh, there you go.
Does that come with it, or is that something else?
It's just got apparently it comes with it. That's the one that they sell. They send with it is the Rotoboss. That's what Tim's got. What he is. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's a Hickory, Tennessee. That's a day trip.
Rob Fight's asking, do you know of a diode laser that has a working area of 24 by 18? I don't have the space or budget for a CO2. That's a little tough. That you get in that 600 millimeter range. Laser Tree had mentioned one to me. This might be a little bit bigger, but they have one it's 800 by 600, so it's more like 24 by 30-ish.
All right. Well, I don't have this thing yet, and I can't say for sure that I'm gonna have. Let me see what the work area is.
So you're looking something like
what do you say? 24 by 18?
Yeah. So you'd be like 450 by 600.
I'm supposed to have one of these coming. That new Alien cell, it comes with a 20, 40, or 60 watt bed laser source. I can't say anything about it. All I can say about it, I've seen some other people that seem to like them. It has some cool features, but we all know that sometimes cool features can cause big headaches. But the work area is 24 by 18. So if you want to do your research or wait around and see what this thing looks like, then maybe. It's a blue laser. I think did they come out with an hour, but supposedly I got one coming. I don't know. I haven't seen a tracking number, but then again, a lot of times they just show up. But they did reach out to me and ask me if I would be willing to look at it, and I told them it looked pretty interesting, and I wouldn't mind looking at it. So it's currently showing $22.99, but now it's not released yet. This is pre-order only, so that would be another thing. If you're wanting to get started now, this is one of those that, like me and Steve have talked about. I mean, maybe it ships, maybe it doesn't. I mean, you don't never know, but it does have some cool features.
So this is one I was talking about that is a little more. It's available now and maybe more in the price range.
A little more affordable. Yeah.
It's a little bit bigger. So like I say, it's 24 by 30, 32. So it's maybe a little bit above the size you're looking at, but something you could consider in that price range, and that would be just a little bit over the size you're looking at. But you still have to worry about your enclosure as well.
Yeah, Papa, I've saw several folks have had videos. Like I said, I just hadn't had my hands on it myself. So you can do your research. But Mike says, do you mark or brand your stove covers for repeat business? Yes and no. I've got a rubber stamp. I stamp the back of them, and everybody's like, why are you stamping them? Won't you engrave them? Well, it's just a matter of time, to be honest with you. it's quicker for me to just take my rubber stamp and stamp it before I finish it and everything, because you can still see it. It's not like overly intrusive, but you can still see it even after the stain and everything's been applied. So, but that I do mark them with my stamp, but it's my little DIY stamp that I made. I need to redo it, I guess, but it's just been hard to redo because I mean it just works. So I got my little stamp there. I got the big one, and then for smaller projects, I've got a smaller one that I made. And let me ink my little pad here. And if any of Maymay's people's watching, I know I ain't doing it right. All right, I get it. They're always telling me how I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to stamping, and I don't. So with this one, that's the stamp from this little smaller one. And then this is the bigger one. This is my OG. I've had this one for a while. This is one I use for stove covers. So like you just like literally just take it, put it on there, and then press it in real good. And there you go. It's a little smudged because I didn't put a whole lot of pressure on it. I need to redo this one. I did this one with a diode laser. Now that I've gotten UVs, I could do a lot nicer job of making my stamps. But yeah, so this is like, and you can see my little box that I put it in. It gets used a lot. So, and this is the ink pad that I tried to mark my logo on with a fiber laser a long time ago, and it didn't work. It just got all melty.
Captain Laser, appreciate the $5 sticker. Always nice to get that little extra chip, but never want you to feel obligated to. We're just here to have fun and share some conversation and whatnot, but always appreciated. Yeah. Chris, that would require me to keep all the glues in one spot, and everyone knows you won't want to put everything in one basket. So
I'm telling you, you need like, you remember those what was those snake oil salesmen used to have like a little cart, and they opened it up and they had like little slide. That's what you need. You need like get you a little cart and have like almost like a little toolbox. When you open it up, it's like it unfolds. And it's like glues everywhere. Or get you a trench coat and put you some little things in it to where you can open it up and it's just like glues. Radu, I sell them to businesses. So the business that I sell to orders about 5 or so a week, most weeks. But I actually have a couple of people that have bought them like for family members and stuff. So it happens.
Tim
says a traveling glue peddler. That's what he'd be. He'd be like one of them snake oil salesmen back in the day. He'd come rolling into town with all the suitcase full of glues. It's like, this one will glue anything you got. This one's good, but don't be in a room with it without ventilation. It'll kill you. I mean, he just got like all the glues.
But, a lot of that comes from the model aviation stuff, and you don't want your airplanes to fail from a glue joint in air.
I get it. You're my guy. Like if I'm ever sitting around and I'm like, you know what glue should I use for this project? I'm going to message Steve and be like, hey, what glue should I use for this? And that's why I'm getting to where I'm almost as bad as Steve, because I think I'm up to like 9 different types of adhesives over there. So
yeah,
I went to my local hardware store the other day because I try to buy as much of my materials as I can here in my home county, because we don't have a Lowe's or Home Depot or nothing like that. So there's only certain things that I can buy here locally. Well, my glue, the Type Bond glue, it's basically the same price whether I buy it down there or buy it local, because I have a business account with the local store, and so I get a little bit of a knockoff of the price for having my business account. So I went in there the other day and I'm like, hey guys, is there any way I could get y'all to order me like a gallon of this Tide because these little small bottles, it's getting expensive, because it's like $30, $20 or something.
They sell those at Menards.
Well, we don't have a Menards. So now our Russell Do-It Center here in Clanton is stocking 1 gallon jugs of Tide Bond 3. So there you go.
You just got to make sure you use that stuff because if
oh, trust me, I do. I go through about 1 a month at least.
Yeah, so I would go through them soon enough to run out when I was building those model airplane stands, but then all of a sudden when that kind of like dropped off a cliff with COVID and such, I was like, I had this gallon of glue that I was trying to use on home projects and other things, and eventually I was just like,
wallpaper glue.
It's too far gone. So Eli's got a good question when speaking of businesses. It does do you guys do business insurance for your machines, or are you relying on homeowners insurance?
I'm underinsured.
So this is a good question to have with your insurance agent as to what is covered depending on how you are using your equipment. Homeowners insurance will cover a certain amount of items within the structure, or if it's a substructure, or sometimes you have there's certain clauses for rented space and such, but it's general for personal use type stuff. If you all of a sudden say, well, I'm operating a business out of here, they're like, oh, nope, none of that's covered. And so you definitely want to be honest about it, because if you have an incident and they go, well, wait a minute, you have a business registered at this address and you have all these things, well, they can deny your claim at that point. So far better to have that conversation up front and find out. Depending on the equipment you've got, it might not be that terrible for business insurance. A lot of that's based on, the risk of, customers and the types of things you're creating. Do they cause a risk, whatnot? There's a lot of factors that go into that. But yeah, I wouldn't, if you were truly doing business and you're registered as a business at your home, there are good chances that things won't be covered under your personal homeowners. And apparently I would not look good in a trench coat.
Well, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, Steve. I'm not going to sit here and say you look good in anything. I'm just going to be honest with you. I mean, we friends and all, but that just sounds a little little out of.
I think you need to be careful how you're phrasing anything here, and maybe just stop.
Out of the realm of the conversations we need to be having.
Yeah. Yeah, Eli, that's kind of it. It depends on your agent and the company, but generally, yes, that if they deem that you're operating a business there and you only had personal homeowners insurance, they will likely use that as a reason to say none of it's covered.
Well, insurance companies going to do what they can not to pay. That's how they stay in business.
Yeah. Anyhow. Well, thank you everyone else who dropped your super stickers and such. Again, we appreciate it. Never want anyone to feel obligated about that, but do appreciate the support. And I know someone asked about the Christmas special, which is approaching here in we're getting closer, like 5-6 weeks coming up on that. So we are working on working with some of the vendors and manufacturers and whatnot to kind of nail down their donations. I know we have a handful of there will be some machines. There will be I know some of them been talking. The big thing this year has been these portable machines, and so I have a feeling we'll have some of those. And we're looking to kind of have some fun stuff. Try to get as much as we can spread around, but also we don't want to be doing a 5-hour marathon.
Yeah, we're trying to keep it to where it's relevant and like we don't want to spend 30 minutes trying to give away a whistle or a spider ring. You know what I mean? We want it to where we can give you guys some cool stuff, usable stuff. You know, not everybody's going to get the top of the line machine necessarily, but so far there's going to be lots of prizes. It appears, varying disciplines and prices, but it's going to be fun. And I've talked to Brandy, and I think we're going to have to get her backstage to help us manage some of this stuff, Steve. And she's agreed to do so. I don't, y'all probably won't see her, but me and Steve will, because the problem we had last year, she was trying to help us with it, but there was such a delay between the actual live and what she was seeing that it was creating issues. So I told her this year we'll put her backstage so that she gets the real feed, real time, and she can be our spreadsheet person and keep us going. So that's what we're gonna. Hopefully, that's gonna work out.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. Hey, this machine is like total processing times 43 hours on that machine. Standby times like 132 hours. That's nothing compared to even my X40. Like 43 hours of runtime. My X40 gets that in a month.
Yeah. Sometimes these things get purchased and,
Total job count, 244. I've did 244 speed and power tests on the Monport already. Like, I've had to clear the memory on the Monport. Did you know you could fill up the memory on a Reno 45? And it will refuse jobs.
Yeah. Are you naming them different, or are you naming them the same?
It won't let me override them the way it's set up on the profile.
Interesting.
When I put it in as a top wisdom controller, some of the things that you can change with the DSP, like overwrite previous file and stuff like that, it grays those out and won't let me do it. But it wasn't hard once I found out how to clear the machine's memory. It just was one of those things where there was I couldn't find any documentation. I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I got to do? I tried factory resetting it. Yeah, that don't work. The jobs are still there.
Sim the Turner is asking, will the giveaways be only USA? It depends on the participating vendor or manufacturer. Some of them are shipping direct from their warehouses, and they will let us know, like, hey, we've got this in the US, or we can ship to these locations. So we're trying to make sure we have that clear, but some of them can be worldwide. And we'll probably have a couple of drawings that will be for anyone, because they'll be like gift certificate type things that hopefully you can use. So we know we have an international audience, and we want to make sure everybody has a chance and is included. So, but some of them do get locked down to where they're able and willing to ship to. So, yeah, Kevin's asking when are you gonna be heading to Tennessee now? Is that gonna be Monday, or are you gonna wait till Tuesday?
Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. I see. It's tempting. I ain't gonna lie about it. I mean, that's a pretty good little deal right there.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the perfect size machine. Not too big, not too small. And it's about $4,000 cheaper than what it would be if you ordered it.
What do you like, Goldilocks now?
What's that?
You said it's not too big, it's not too small. It's just right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is 100 watt though. It says 90 on the listing, but picture of the tube says 103 watts output.
Yeah, maybe they just rated it right to where that's the peak, but they rated at a 90. Yeah. So, but anyway, we're almost on 2 hours 10 minutes. We've gone a little bit over. It's been fun, but Sunday night passes and Monday morning comes, and some of us do still get up and drive to work.
I have to walk to work.
Yeah, that's different than driving.
And it's uphill.
You have the option of throwing Crocs on and going out there in your pajamas. I do that, and they send me to HR.
I do that. Hey, and I'm gonna tell you, it has been nice. That is the one thing. Me and Brandy were talking about it the other day. But now, don't let her fool you. Brandy's living it up. She is loving the retired life because, like, we've been together. Like, we started dating in 1993, right? We have cohabitated since 1995. All right. I have made the bed more in the past 2 weeks than I have in the previous 32 years. Because that's just not something that I've ever been like. It's not a habit I have. Of all the OCD tendencies I have no problem walking away from an unmade bed. Like that's just that doesn't bother me. But I have been doing that, laundry, dishes, like all the kid picking up stuff. I mean, it's been hey, she's been living it up. She told me the other day, she's like, I'm enjoying it. She's like, I feel like I got to retire. So, but she did change jobs. So she's no longer at the Chamber of Commerce. By the way, she now works for the city where I used to work. So now that's a little better because she has the insurance now. I've carried the insurance for the past 25 years. Actually, before that, I guess 30 years. And now she's carrying the insurance. So you remember all that money I was having to take from my laser jobs and pay insurance with? Yeah, I don't got to do that no more. And I'm very happy about it. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Spend it on a laser.
Well, that's what I was thinking, I mean, trip to Tennessee, it's right outside of Nashville.
Brandy's never going to let me come down there.
But yeah, she got that job, and it was out of the blue too. It's not like because we've basically been double insured this past month because I paid the insurance to cover me for November, and then she took that job, and so we've had 2 insurances through November. So we'll only have one again here next month. But yeah, Tim Arthur, you ain't helping her, bro. You ain't helping. But that's just, I'm gonna be honest with you. If I knew something better wouldn't come along, I'd be jumping on that right now. I'm having to, more sensible minds are having to prevail here with that. So
how soft is that pine straw?
You'll be sleeping with Biscuit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you were right earlier. It's kind of like you gotta when you're finally pushed to the point of you're limited by functionality or speed of your machine consistently. That's when it's time to upgrade. But it's good to keep your eyes open for, if you're kind of creeping up there, you're like going, and you find the balance of, okay, here's maybe a good deal that helps justify it. It's worth it, but it's always good to make sure that it is truly a need. And otherwise you end up with a big machine sitting in your shop and you go, why did I spend that money on it? So
Burn Car Prince said, take Brandy on a nice romantic trip to Nashville.
I think she'd notice the large and be like, why are we pulling the trailer?
Yeah, what's that? Why are we pulling the portable clack shack that has nothing in it right now? Yeah, because I would definitely, something like that, I would definitely have to take the trailer with the ramp.
Yeah.
But I don't really need to do it right now. I mean, I would love to if I had a bigger shop, but I am in shop mode right now. Like all of my extra money and all, I need to be getting ready for a shop. I got some other things I'm working on getting done.
Build me that apartment down there.
Well, hey, I'm hoping now that I ain't got to pay for insurance, maybe I can afford to, because insurance was gonna be a bit of a fun killer. But we'll see.
Yep.
Tim says sell the P2. You don't use it. I've been tempted. I ain't gonna lie, Tim. Because I could use that space now that I've got the Reno. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's getting close. I've kept it for my backup because it's not a bad machine. it's not. It doesn't do what I want to CO2. I mean, it's just I don't. There's things about it it's really really nice, but it's the things that they added to it that makes it so nice are not things that I really cared for. You know what I mean? Like I want bare bones, basic, easy to operate. Honeycomb that stays still. I'm just weird like that, I guess, and it don't do tumblers for me very well. So.
Yep. Well.
All right, but yeah, we might be getting to that point, Tim. Stay tuned. might need to put that in the building fund because Steve wants his apartment. He's really been looking forward to having his economy apartment in the new shack, and the dream of that had kind of gotten a little damp here recently. But maybe that's something we could look forward to again.
Well, I'm not too picky. You can just have like, a futon and maybe 4 walls.
Well, the only thing that I'm thinking may help us out, Steve, is that Brandy was in there today rearranging her furniture and talking about how much more room she would have if I had like a legit office somewhere to put my desk and my 3D printer and all my stuff. So that may be to our benefit that Brandy's trying to come up with more space in the house.
Yeah, there you go.
So
gotta burn those stove covers.
That's right. But I guess that's gonna be it for tonight, guys. I appreciate it. Enjoyed it. It was fun.
Yeah. Yep. And one more before Thanksgiving, and then we'll be in full on holiday mode. I mean, holiday sales are already going on. If you're making stuff, you're probably well through that, and they'll be taming down. But yeah, it'll family time will be more full on holiday mode. So
well, y'all can go ahead and prepare for this week. It's going to be busy because I've got to do a video with my new upgraded comm marker. I'm going to try to do a little more with the UV as well as the F2. There goes Tiger. And so I'm going to be trying to crank out some content this week. So stay tuned and watch out for it. I know Steve's working on his big gargantuan X-Tool P3 video. So
well, that one's already out. That's out. Posted that yesterday. There'll be more to come on that one though.
No, that's what I'm saying. I know you've been using it to do other jobs too. We were talking about earlier.
And then so yeah, check that out. And then I've got that Sculpt Fun IR module, so put that one on play and let it play while you go to sleep or something. No, I mean check them all out. The P3 one is kind of long because I did kind of go in depth on some things, really showing how they worked and whatnot. But I will be doing some kind of shorter, more targeted things with that one. I've got some fun projects I'm hoping to get out. More projects with the F2. I got to get my 10 watt, 12 watt upgrade on the comm marker going and do some more crystal stuff and other things there. So hopefully I'll be able to spend some time out here, get all those done and have some fun sharing. I've got some fun projects that might help people with just some creativity things as well. So
yeah,
hopefully no computer crashes or whatnot.
Yeah, I've got 2 boxes of crystal over there of all kinds of shape. So I finally got the box that got lost coming from comm marker. I guess they replaced it. The second box did show up. So I've got that as well as I ordered a bunch of stuff off of Amazon for the 2 machines that I've got. So I've got some odd shapes. Whew. Oh, I don't know how the odd shapes are going to go. That is one reason why I have generic silly putty that seems to be melting just sitting here. That's not good. I think our Dollar General silly putty is not the best, but that was the reason I got it, was to help hold some of those odd shaped crystals. But we'll see.
And Eileen, I'll be doing a video using the RI3, definitely with the P3, but I may try to throw it in the F2 as well to see how it does on that one. So definitely we'll see some stuff coming out using that new chuck rotary from X-Tool.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to see it with that little F2. That'd be pretty cool. All right. Well, anybody else got anything? Last call. Thank you guys. Appreciate you.
Yes,
And,
appreciate everybody.
And stay tuned. Like I said, hopefully we're going to start putting out some marketing materials for the live. And I know you guys, there's going to be other people show up for the giveaways, so maybe everybody gets lucky. But the nature of the beast is we're going to collaborate with these companies. We're going to do some pre-marketing for them, and then we'll have the giveaways. It'll probably be, like I said, it'll probably be an early start, and could even be a long finale, but it'll be fun. Till next time.
We'll see y'all
Later.